Justin Wong, Mr. Consistent Streamer, right here with us today. Welcome, man. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was just a random name I started just to throw in my stream titles, just because it's kind of like, I guess we're in a pandemic and we're not traveling to events, so I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna just make up something and then consistent streamer.
It works. You are the consistent streamer on Twitch.
I'm pretty sure there are other people that are more consistent than me, because I don't really stream like 6 to 8 hours like a day compared to like other like full time streamers. I would say I'm a part time streamer, but yeah, definitely try to be consistent as much as I can.
For the audience, the listeners that have been living on Mars for the past 10 years, can you tell them who you are?
Name is Justin Wong. I've been playing fighting games for over 20 years, competitively, professionally, whatever we call it these days. And yeah, I mean, I'm really bad at talking about myself, but I guess I won a good amount of tournaments during the time frame. And yeah, now I've been trying to boost up Twitch and YouTube, doing pretty good with the retro stuff. So definitely more of an old school player during the arcade like heydays, stuff like that.
Awesome. Maybe you're also known for a special clip or a special tournament that happened a while back. Maybe we can show it on YouTube right here for people watching this podcast. You're known for that. Do people still?
Oh, they ask all the time. Yeah. They asked about Evil Moment 37 all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I made YouTube videos about it like a few other times as well too. So I would say it's pretty standard that like most people that got into like fighting games or like esports or just like the online gaming culture probably have seen that clip before, just because it's just so famous. It's from 2004, long time ago, but it still holds like true to this day.
Absolutely, and it's just there's something really special about it, that just the hype and there's a lot of energy. I think this clip like just has a lot of energy. I could just it sucks for you, but I could just rewatch it a lot.
I mean, it's all good. You can watch it as much as you can. I mean, there's even times where they have like video game developers making references to the moment, right?
Really?
Like they had when Smash Ultimate first came out and they introduced the parry system, they had like Ryu parrying like a bunch of flurry of kicks, and it's like the way it showed, it looked like the reference of Evil Moment 37. The last game recently that came out, Lost Judgment, like we're nothing close to fighting games. They even like their Twitter talked about like, oh yeah, Evil Moment 37 like lives in my head rent free, and I'm like, damn, that was so random, but everyone like has seen it, like if you're in the gaming space, so it's pretty cool, just because it's still kind of like I said, it's 2004, right? So it's like gonna be 20 years old soon, right? Like a few years.
For a clip to be still relevant like 20 years after online, it's like really rare. You become like kind of a, I don't know, part of the internet archive, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And so you're known for obviously what you've done in the fighting game scene. One of the best in the world. How do you feel about still being relevant in 2021, being really one of the like contenders, one of the go-to guys in the fighting game scene?
I guess it's kind of cool. Just because I think anytime a new fighting game does come out, people look to like me in terms of like just like from the stream perspective, from the YouTube perspective, or even from my social media perspective of like how do I feel about the game? Who do I think is like really good, like great characters? Who do I think is low tier characters? So like in terms of like my opinion, it still matters, and I think it's because like I have a knack of just like dissecting a game real fast when a game comes out. Maybe it's because of all the years of experience I have played like so many type of fighting games in my life. Even now, during the times of the pandemic, I've been just like going back to like older fighting games I never played before or I dabbled on and trying to like kind of like break those games down even now, right? And finding like new strategies, finding new glitches, just new potential of the characters. Like a lot of people just look to me when it comes down to like if there's a new patch or if there's a new fighting game, they'll always come to me and asking for like my advice of like what do I think about it, who do I think is tournament worthy. So it feels nice. But to me it's just more of just like I just love fighting games. I just love playing fighting games. I was like telling my wife the other day, I was like, man, there's so many games I want to play, but ultimately in the end I just want to play fighting games. Like a Metroid Dread came out. Everyone's talking about it. They're like, oh my god, game of the year potential, right? 2021 game of the year. And I'm like, man, I do want to play it. It looks great. It looks fantastic. And then I go to the Switch store and I'm hovering at it and I'm like, nah, I don't want to buy it.
I want to fight.
I was like, I don't want to buy it. I don't feel like I can commit to it or play it. So ultimately, it's just I love fighting games. I would say.
Yeah, we're born in the same year. I think 1985.
Yep.
I think you have a kid, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I do.
We have a family very similar to me, same age, one kid, family life, right? And I mean, we don't have time to play as much as in our 20s, right? Like you just play, as you said, fighting games all the time, and it's such a demanding, it's very niche, but it's such a demanding genre that you need to get into this, really learn the different move sets or the different slight varieties for each character. It's a tremendous amount of data, of information that you need to absorb and process every game that comes out.
So I actually probably now I don't play that much. The only time I do play games is when I stream. And when I stream, it's like literally like 2 to 3 hours. And then like that's it. That's like the only type of time I play games. But the thing is, since I played so much fighting games throughout my life, looking at a move list, I can already perform the moves without even doing the moves. Right? I could figure out combos real fast compared to like other people that probably doesn't have as much fighting game experience I have. Also, there's Twitter. Like Twitter, Twitch, everyone's playing, so technically I'm just like X-copying a lot of players these days. A lot of players that put up like their latest combo, their matches. I just have it in the background. I just like, okay, I straight X-copy that type of like play, that type of combo, and then when I stream the next day, I just try it out, and then like literally probably in a few minutes I'll get it down. So I would say, like, the more experience you have with a genre, the easier it technically does get, right? If you're like really great at like a FPS game, like, and you playing a new FPS game, you already have an understanding of what you need to do in the FPS game, right? And usually most of the time it's gonna be like kind of like the same. You just have to figure out which weapons are great, but you're gonna figure out which weapons are great by looking at social media, at seeing other
creators and whatever. Yeah, for sure.
So it's the same. It's technically the same.
I feel you. But you still play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 specifically. Amazing game. Do you still really enjoy playing it?
Oh, I would say I played a lot lately. So even before Maximilian made the free MVC2 movement, I was still playing it like super hardcore. But it's more of just like there's 56 characters in the game. Most throughout, like, I would say majority of like the professional fighting game career, I probably only played like the top tier characters for like 90% of the time. So now it's more of just like I just want to see what these characters have to offer, and understanding how YouTube works. People love to see these lower tier characters, beat against top tier characters. So that's kind of like my little thing that I like to do right now. The little flow chart, right? Pick a random new character that you don't see too much, like throughout the 20 years of Marvel's Capcom 2. Make them viable, make them seem good, and beat these top tier characters, and boom. That's like kind of like my day.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So and having like different like teams, and there's so many like ways to design teams, is like it becomes like kind of like like a not endless, but it's a lot of great content that you could definitely make out of.
Yeah, a lot of variety you can create with
Yeah.
one, like especially for a fighting game, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of typically you could have like 10 characters in that set, but with the tag team and the different, yeah, there's a lot of variety with Marvel versus Capcom 2. Is it your favorite fighting game of all time, or what is it?
I would say
Yeah.
it probably is my favorite fighting game of all time,
Yeah.
just because like I was there since day one, like in the arcade. The arcade technician was installing Mario Capcom 2. Like I was there since day one, so
Mm-hmm.
so I played it since day one and up to now.
What do you find yourself playing the most of, like right now?
Probably Mario Capcom 2. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
okay.
Mario Capcom 2, and then random old fighting games that like the chat or like people that in comment section recommends, and I'll try it out.
Cool.
But
Okay.
but like going back and just looking at different fighting games that I never had a chance to play, now it's like my time of playing them.
Yeah, like the 90s were the golden like age of fighting games, I think.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of random fighting games for like the Genesis and like the Dreamcast, and it's just there's so many random ones. A lot of kind of up and coming or new developers tried, their shot at fighting games at one point in the 90s because it was such a popular genre.
Yeah.
People coming from the arcades, finally being able to play at home, it was a big thing. Now, not so much. You got like, I'm sure there's some indie fighting games coming out still. I hope
There
but-
are a lot of
Yeah.
indie fighting games that always DM me and says, "Hey, can you make a video of my game?"
Please.
So I get that a lot, but just it really just depends on how it looks, how it feels, and if I would enjoy it. Really would depend if I can make a video. So because there has been a good amount of like indie fighting games I done on YouTube that perform pretty well. So it's just kind of like I get like massive floods sometimes.
Yeah. Like, do you think fighting games are like stuck in that niche forever now? Or do you think there's like a room for growth in the future?
I think there's always room for growth. It just really depends on like who just steps it up, right? I think the one thing that fighting games need to really do to perform like well in the future is like having good netcode. I feel like when you're playing like an FPS game, League of Legends, like these type of games, they have amazing like netcode, like really really good netcode. Fighting games, like because it's really about like a lot of frame data and movement and everything, netcode kind of starts getting kind of like interesting, where there could be a lot of lags. Your moves come out like a few seconds later. So I would say that we need to actually have perfect netcode to like have more people be interested, because I think like a lot of times when people buy like a game that has online multiplayer, they want to have a good time, right? And if they're having a crap time, then the game's not going to do well overall. Game goes back to GameStop or gets returned, and then so I would say right now fighting games have a struggle with netcode, but they're getting better at it slowly but surely. I think the one game that could make everything really strong in terms of the fighting game genre is the Riot fighting game, whenever that comes out. I think that game can really push pretty hard, because I feel like any Riot game always gets like crazy, just like publicity, and a lot of people more playing it, really big content creators playing it just to try it out. So it really depends on how well that game does.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, I feel as a gamer myself, when there's a new fighting game coming out, I'm like, that looks awesome. I want to try it out. But then I do really feel like quickly that I need to really spend a lot of time to learn again, like I said, the move list, the move sets, and the moves of each character. And then going into like playing online, you probably gonna get your ass kicked if you're a newbie at fighting games.
Yeah.
So it's not really like newbie friendly. I feel that's, to me, it's a big roadblock for fighting games in general. Like, I think that appealing to the current like fighting games players is one thing, but trying to get new players to want to play fighting games more and more, it's, to me, it's very tricky.
So I think Smash Brothers is like the perfect example. Smash Brothers, obviously the scene for it is way bigger than like any other fighting game that has a community, and I think the reason why is because there's no intricate move list like you were mentioning, right? You don't have to do like a quarter circle forward, a half circle back, a 360 motion, like all these like motions that most people would be like, I don't know what this is, right? So when you're playing Smash and you pick Mario, for example, if you hit the B button, you throw a fireball, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no intricate motion where you do like the Hadouken. In Street Fighter, you have to do half circle forward on the joystick and then press punch, right?
Yeah.
So that is like you have to use two hands to perform that one special move. While Smash Brothers, you could literally just mash the B button and consistently throw fireballs over and over and over, right? And then let's say if you wanted to do the Dragon Punch, right? Mario's Dragon Punch, you have to just hit up and then B, right? It's so simple and a lot of people can understand it. If you ask a bunch of pro players from Smash scene to do like intricate FGs, like fighting game motions that current fighting games have, they would have trouble with it. There was like a thread about complaining about how when Ryu and Ken were in Smash, and they obviously have the easy buttons where like hitting B is a Hadouken, but there's a stronger version where if you complete the actual motion with a GameCube controller, whatever controller they're using, you get a more stronger version. And a lot of people were just failing at that motion, right? Because they're just not used to it. And I think that's kind of where you bring up about how like it just takes up too much time and it's like not newbie friendly. And I think that's like the one thing that fighting games are trying to do, where like, let's say when you're trying to do a combo, most people have a hard time doing combos. A lot of fighting games now, you can hit like the A button 5 times in a row and it'll do a combo for you automatically, right? So
it'll be a weak one probably, right?
Yeah, it'll be a
but
weak
it'll be
one.
a combo.
It'll be a combo. So now, like, they're trying to like implement those things to bring in the casual audience as best as they can.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, Smash is the most casual or newbie friendly game out there. What's missing as well, I think, and us boomers. I mean, I'm excluding you, Meredith. You're good. You're still good.
Yeah.
When we used to play games and fighting games, even in you especially, but even me back in the 90s, I would play with friends. I would get my ass kicked, handled to me by my friends at home. Coming over on Friday nights, kicking my ass at fighting games. Now it's not so much, right? Everybody's online. You said the net code. Still a struggle. I've heard many things about Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, people hate it.
Even if I'm not, in that scene, really, I've heard about it, and so creates a problem. Less people playing at each other's houses. Well, now let's not talk about the pandemic, of course, but even before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I'm curious because it's a fun genre. It's a genre that survived. There's definitely a big fan base, but I just feel like I hope it has room to grow in the future.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, I think it'll have room to grow, even if it's not like from a tournament perspective. I do think that the fact that like developers are having like like their own version of tournaments to like encourage like newer players, so I think they're doing a good job with their like Capcom. Like for Street Fighter 5, they added like a new feature called like tournament mode, and then I believe that like I think monthly or something. I know recently they had a tournament mode where they Capcom asked like their casual fans on Capcom Unity to like, hey, could you participate? Winner gets like this and that, some cool swag, right?
Yeah.
So I think the more things they do where they're reaching out to casual audience to not feel like they're threatened by like pro players, it just helps them, right? Because that's kind of the first step. You can't just be like go from 1 to 10 right away. You have to kind of gradually get the casual player to get more used to this environment of like competition or something on the line. So it's cool that the developers are coming out and it's not just a community base. It's like a joint effort from community plus the developer perspective.
Do you feel the pressure of helping the genre grow in the future, because you're a big part of it?
I mean, I do now. I would say I do a lot of like kind of like more like educational stuff, usually like trying to teach people like what are like these type of fighting games are about, like from like that perspective, or like I get a lot of questions on like, oh, how do I do this, how do I do that, or like how can I get better. So it's like stuff like that comes out pretty darn often, and then the way I try to like have a conversation about fighting games when I'm like, let's say streaming for example, I try to make it as like kind of like grade level as sounding when it comes to the fighting game content. I don't go like super advanced with conversations just because like I know that a lot of people probably would not understand a word I would say if I go like super level. I'm not trying to teach calculus. I'm starting off with like 2 + 2 equals 4 type of stuff.
Yep, that's great. And so, talking about growth, talk to me about what's happening with you on Twitch, on YouTube, on your different platforms. Like, what's Mr. Consistent Streamer? What's ahead for Justin Wong?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I think it's just more of just like I'm at that point where I really do enjoy like creating content and streaming on Twitch, because I'm not in a position where I'm forced to play a specific game that I need to get viewers for. You know, if that makes sense? Because like sometimes there's a lot of people that they have to play like X game in order to get like their viewership because they stress out about it. So I'm like I said, even though I call myself a consistent streamer, I'm technically a part-time streamer.
I know, it's like a meme.
Right? Yeah, it's a meme, right? So I just like to play whatever I feel like whatever I feel like that day of playing, like I'm gonna play, and I don't care like how many viewers I get versus how many viewers I don't get. It's just more of just like, as long as I'm having fun and then the people that come in the chat are having fun, that's all I care about. If they want to see a specific game, they can come in another day, right? So overall, it's just pretty casual about it.
And what happens if you like, I don't know, you want to play Apex Legends or whatever, I don't know, League, or I don't know, I'm just any game, Fortnite, Justin Wong playing Fortnite, like, don't you see like a drop in viewership?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it would drop, but the thing is, I probably will never have any interest in those games personally.
No, I know, that's why I took like some extreme like examples.
Yeah.
But say it's like just not a fighting game. Have you? I mean,
I've done that. Yeah, I played like Pokemon Unite. Right? I played that.
We've done Streets of Rage, 4 together
people
as well.
People love Streets of Rage though.
Well, I mean,
that was a pretty fun one.
Yeah, it was an amazing game. Yeah, that's great.
But to be honest, like as long as I'm having fun, I really don't really care about the numbers. This is how I am.
That's great.
Like I said, I don't really stress out of it. Like maybe if I was a full-time streamer where it's like this is like the main source of income, then sure, I probably would stress out about it. But I guess since it's not, then it's more of just like, yeah, I'm just here to have fun.
It's kind of the ideal position to be in.
Yeah,
I feel like. I'm wondering too, like, I know you have a fairly robust Twitter and Instagram following, like your relationship with social media and how you tie that into your streaming too.
Yeah. As I just try to keep it as like casual and like fun and with just like life, and it's not, and I just don't want it to be like work. Like obviously overall this started out as a hobby, right? And obviously it became like a job, but I don't want it to be a position where like, oh, I'm stressed out of my job, I hate my job. I never want gaming to be ever at that level, right? So I always want to make sure that the reason why I got into gaming is because it was super duper fun. And it still is.
No, that's great to hear.
Great.
I think one of the reasons, I mean, I'm sure you have your own, but from what you said, for me, not looking at the numbers, not caring about the numbers is part of keeping the fun, or keeping the stream fun. Because at the end of the day, like, I have a very strong opinion about that. Like, I think numbers, they tell something. You know, at Streamforge, we look at numbers and we want to work with a creator. Like, we want to, we look at the numbers when we work with publishers. Of course, there's value in the numbers, but for a creator, the reality is numbers don't really matter that much. You're not in control of the numbers. There might be many different reasons why one stream your numbers were down, another one was up. Maybe someone else is playing something that's, just came out today, and you have that has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
You were just doing your thing, and it was a great stream. So, and it's like putting pressure as a streamer, not you, as you said, you don't really look at it, but like as a streamer, when you're looking at your numbers, it's like it's in your mind all the time. Like, why was it down? Why was it
Exactly.
up? Like, why was? And it's like, nobody knows, really. I mean, especially not for one stream. If you look at, like, the stats, aggregate stats over 3 months or something, maybe you can see, like, okay, certain games, I have more viewers than other games, whatever. But after one stream, it doesn't matter. Did you have fun? I think that's what should be the focus for most streamers out there.
Yeah.
Or if not all.
No, I mean, it's obviously it's different for everybody. But I had conversations with people where they're just like super stressed every single time, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's tough for you, but I just don't look at it like that. Like, I think some of like the greatest moments where I do stream were probably when I was like in that Phasmophobia phase, like when that game came out, right, and playing just 4 players with like the people from my chat and just kind of like trolling each other with like the ghosts and everything. That was fun, right? To me, that's fun. But like other people might be like, oh, after one stream, the viewership is bad. I can't play this game anymore. I'm like, damn, what do you mean you can't play this game anymore, right? So I don't want to. Yeah. I would never want to be in that position where like I can't play this game anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree, and you're kind of an icon in a way. You're known. You're really well known in the gaming scene. Most people know Justin Wong, which helps. I think when you say like I can play pretty much whatever, that just helps.
Oh yeah, it does help for sure.
Yeah. So, but it's good that you're still sticking with fighting games as well. You're respecting your roots just because you're also having fun doing it. As you said, what would suck is if you felt like you had to play fighting games and you didn't care anymore. That would kind of suck.
Yeah, I mean, I use this as an example, but like, there's a lot of players that play like Street Fighter 5, for example, right? And they have to stream Street Fighter 5. Right, they can't. If they stream another fighting game, they won't get the same results. So they have to stream Street Fighter 5, and I think because of that, like I never want to be in that position where I have to stream only one fighting game throughout my entire like Twitch career. I would like hate it. That's just me personally, right? So you're forced to play a game that has online and it has crap like netcode. Then I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you in that situation.
Yeah. Say someone wants to start streaming fighting games. Specifically, let's not just talk about streaming in general, like fighting games. Do you have like a couple of tips for these guys, if not just one, for fighting game streamers wanting to grow in that niche?
I think the most important part is getting like your chat, like as even if it's like 1-2 people, to participate in like playing with you, for example. So if you're a new fighting game streamer and then somebody comes in and be like, hey, like, and they're trying to give you pointers, you want to make sure you take those pointers. You want to respect the chat's like kind of like opinion, especially if it's a good opinion from a fighting game perspective, and even play with them. And I think as long as you have like that 1 or 2 person just like playing games with you, like you'll gradually see that your chat will eventually grow even more and more, where you can get more people playing. Because I think a lot of times when I see like new fighting game streamers come up, that's like kind of the general flow chart, which works really well. It's like having an 8-player lobby, right? Eventually, you can fill up all those 8 slots, and then have like your whole community just like participating and playing games with you. Because ultimately, a lot of times, I think the one thing that, like from a chat perspective, that they love doing besides chatting or watching is having the chance to participate on the actual stream itself by playing with the games, right? So it's nice, right? People a lot of times, like, because I think a lot of times you see like those scenarios from like a small streamer perspective, that they're playing with most of the time their chat, and they're having a great time. Time flies by so fast when you're doing that, and then doesn't make it as like you're struggling, because if you're just playing by yourself and you have low chat experience, or you only have like just one person chatting, you might not have a great time, because you feel like you're just kind of waiting for somebody to come in as a chatter. But if you're playing with your chat, then it becomes natural, organic.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks for that. That's great. One of the last questions I have is, what's the next game that you're really looking forward to that hasn't come out yet?
Obviously, besides Project L, whatever the game's going to be called, Ride Fighting Game, because I think that would be a pretty darn good fighting game to play, just because the people working on it, they made this fighting game called Rising Thunder, and this Rising Thunder fighting game was literally like the fighting game that you want to have. That you were talking about how like you don't have time for these move lists. They had like these one button special moves. Like literally, it's meant for you to play on keyboard, right? Like you're playing League of Legends, like QWER. Like and then you have like you use your arrow keys as mobility, movement wise, right? So it was like such a good game, right? And even though it was so simple in terms of execution, it still had that high level mind games where you can definitely like be an amazing player, and if you have fighting game like experience, you would obviously understand how to play it in terms of I guess competitive level. But for the beginner perspective, you're able to perform all these different special moves with just pressing one button, like how you would play like League of Legends, right? You press Q, you do special attack, W, E, and an R, for example.
Yeah.
So Riot bought their company out, and these are the same guys developing Project L. So very excited to see that, because I think that game could possibly like kind of bring more just light to the fighting game genre. But we don't know when that game comes out. So speaking for games that is gonna be coming out with an official date, King of Fighters 15. King of Fighters 15, February 2022 is when it's supposed to drop, and looking at Tokyo Game Show, the footage, the trailer, it looks fantastic. I'm not gonna lie, the beginning when this game came out, in terms of just like trailers and everything, I thought the game looked like crap. It was like pretty trash. But now they polished it up, they showed off more of the mechanics, and I'm like, damn, this game looks fantastic. And they also advertised that they're gonna have really good netcode, so that is also something I'm excited for. Hopefully they don't lie about that.
Well, they wouldn't say the opposite, let's put it that way.
Well, it's because like a lot of times the problem is when it comes down to a Japanese developer, the Japanese infrastructure for online netcode is perfect in Japan, but that doesn't mean that it's tested around the whole world.
Yep.
So Street Fighter 5, I was in the hotel room in Japan, like random APA hotel that had a wired connection, and I plugged in my laptop in there. I played online in Street Fighter, and it was 10 out of 10, perfect connection every single time. Come back to America, trash internet, trash netcode, right? And this is my home internet, right? It's supposed to be better than hotel internet.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get it right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, Japan is self-sufficient. Has been for a while, and especially when it comes to games, or you can think about anime and Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, video games. Like they don't need us, and so they typically focus more on it makes sense, their servers in Japan and the testing and all that stuff. So I hope they don't lie about it, and you're right. Then that goes gonna be great for that game. That's cool. To get back to Riot's fighting game, Project L, right? What I think will be interesting to see is how Riot brings that game to esports, because I guarantee you they will. You know, League of Legends, you know, Valorant, like, you know, that's what they do. At least that's what they do best, you know.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling, you know, they're gonna come out of the gates with that one and really hit that esports scene. What are your thoughts on that?
It'll be cool. I think it would be kind of like my last attempt of hurrah of just like maybe esports related, because personally I don't want to travel like that. I'm very comfortable with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be really nice. I would definitely be streaming a lot about it, just because I'm interested to see, like, you know, what type of games. There's a lot of characters. Any game that has a lot of characters is always a blessing. And yeah, I feel like it would be pretty darn fun. Like, I just hope a lot of people enjoy it, and I hope it's a great game. I have no doubt that it's gonna have good netcode. I'm pretty sure it will, just because, like, right, it's all about perfection when it comes down to like the online multiplayer experience. So, and yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool to do collaborations with like a bunch of like top content creators that really love Riot games. So overall, I just want to just have like more of a just like teaching people how to play, right? Teaching people how to understand how to work fighting games. So I think that's kind of what I'm excited about, because if they have a great experience from learning a fighting game, then that means there are possible fans and viewers who have a great experience as well too. And from there, that means it's going to grow the fighting game genre, where maybe like 10% of people will be like, hey, let me check out other different fighting games because this one was darn fun, right?
Yeah.
And it overall grows the whole scene. So ultimately, if this helps grow the whole scene, I'm always about it.
Absolutely. Talking to you makes me want to play some fighting games. And I will.
I love fighting
games,
games,
last
man.
10 minutes until I'm done and my fingers hurt from smashing the buttons. But I'll keep watching you on Twitch. Where can people find you online, man?
You know, they can find me on twitter.com/jwong with 3Gs. Same thing for Twitch, twitch.tv/jwong with 3Gs. Instagram.com/jwong3gs, and unfortunately YouTube is not jwong3gs. It's youtube.com/I ain't jwong.
Okay. No, just 1G.
Yeah, 1G.
All right. Well, I'm sure you can Google also Justin Wong and the different platforms.
Yeah, that would probably come up too.
That'll work. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for participating in this podcast, dude. It was a real pleasure. And maybe we can talk again when Project L, you know, comes out, and when you'll have some time to play it and can have a little episode about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
Thanks, Justin.
You too.